The champagne flute shattered in my hand, the glass slicing a thin red line across my palm as laughter erupted around me. The glittering ballroom, awash in golden chandeliers and the clink of crystal, froze for a heartbeat. My cousin's wedding reception roared on, oblivious to the storm brewing in my chest. They were laughing at me, at the whispers of my crumbling marriage, at the audacity of my presence here, alone. I stood rigid, my tailored suit suddenly too tight, the air thick with perfume and betrayal. My wife Elise was across the room, her laughter brighter than the rest, her arm brushing against his, a man I'd trusted like a brother. The sight burned hotter than the cut on my hand. I'd known something was wrong for months. The late-night texts she'd dismiss as work. The way her eyes darted away when I asked about her day. The perfume on her scarf that wasn't hers. Each clue was a splinter under my skin, small enough to ignore but sharp enough to fester. I'd rationalized it all. She's stressed, she's busy, she loves me. But love doesn't whisper secrets in the dark. Love doesn't leave you standing in a room full of people, bleeding from a broken glass and a broken heart. The ballroom pulsed with music, a jazz band crooning about love eternal, mocking me. Elise's sapphire dress caught the light as she leaned closer to Daniel, my business partner, my friend. His hand grazed her lower back, a gesture too intimate, too familiar. My stomach churned, bile rising as my mind replayed every moment I'd dismissed. The late dinners they'd shared for the company. The weekend conference they'd both attended, returning with inside jokes I wasn't part of. I trusted them both, built a life with Elise, an empire with Daniel. Now their betrayal was a blade twisting in my gut. I forced my legs to move, weaving through cousins and aunts, their smiles oblivious to the earthquake splitting my world. "James, you okay?" my sister asked, her brow furrowing as she noticed the blood dripping from my hand. I muttered something about clumsiness, brushing past her. I needed air, needed to escape the suffocating weight of their laughter. Outside, the night was crisp, the sprawling estate gardens bathed in moonlight. The distant thrum of a helicopter landing barely registered. My helicopter, my escape, my proof that I wasn't the failure they whispered about. But it wasn't enough. Not yet. I leaned against a stone pillar, the cold biting through my jacket. My mind spiraled. How long had this been going on? The question clawed at me, each memory now tainted. Our wedding vows, her tearful promises under a starlit sky. The late nights we'd spent building my tech startup, her hand in mine as we dreamed of a future. Had it all been a lie? Or had I failed her somehow, driven her into his arms? Doubt gnawed at me, but anger burned hotter. I wasn't the one who'd broken us. A shadow moved in the garden. Elise. She stepped into the moonlight, her dress shimmering like a siren's call. "James, what's wrong?" Her voice was soft, concerned, but it felt like a performance. She reached for my hand, but I pulled back, the blood on my palm smearing onto my cuff. "Don't," I said, my voice low, trembling with the effort to stay calm. "I saw you with him." Her eyes widened, a flicker of panic before she masked it with confusion. "What are you talking about? Daniel's just..." "Don't lie to me, Elise." My words cut through the night, sharper than the glass in my hand. "I'm not blind. Not anymore." She stepped back, her breath hitching. "You're being paranoid. It's a wedding, James. We're just having fun." But her voice cracked, and the lie crumbled in her eyes. She knew I knew. The helicopter's roar grew louder, its blade slicing the air as it settled on the lawn behind the estate. Guests spilled out, murmuring, pointing at the sleek black machine, its chrome gleaming under the floodlights. My cousin's new wife gasped, "Is that yours?" The crowd's laughter died, replaced by awe, envy, curiosity. I'd built that empire, that helicopter, that life. And they'd mocked me for it. I turned back to Elise, my voice steady now, cold. "How long, Elise? How long have you and Daniel been betraying me?" Her lips parted, but no words came. Her silence was louder than any confession. Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt no pity, only a hollow ache where love used to be. I didn't mean for it to happen, she whispered finally, her voice breaking. It just did. Just did. I laughed, a bitter sound that echoed in the night. You don't just destroy a marriage. You chose this. You chose him. She shook her head, reaching for me again. I love you, James. I swear I do. It was a mistake. Stop. I stepped back, the helicopter's wind whipping at my hair. You don't get to say that anymore. Daniel appeared then, his tie loosened, his face pale as he saw us. James, let's talk about this, he said, his voice too calm, too practiced. He'd always been the smooth one, the charmer who closed deals while I built the tech. Now I saw him for what he was, a thief. There's nothing to talk about, I said, my eyes locked on his. You took everything I trusted you with. He flinched but didn't deny it. The crowd watched, their whispers a dull roar in my ears. My cousin approached, his face tight with concern. James, what's going on? I ignored him, my gaze flicking between Elise and Daniel. You thought I wouldn't notice. That I'd keep playing the fool while you two. My voice broke and I hated myself for it. I wanted to scream, to tear the world apart, but all I could do was stand there, bleeding and broken. Elise sobbed, her hands covering her face. I'm so sorry, James. I never wanted to hurt you. But she had. They both had. And the worst part, I still loved her. Even now, with the truth laid bare, my heart ached for the woman I'd thought she was. I wanted to believe her tears, her apologies, but trust was a fragile thing, and mine was shattered. The helicopter's pilot signaled to me, a reminder of the escape I'd planned. I'd come here to prove a point, to show them all I wasn't the failure they whispered about. But now, as I looked at Elise's tear-streaked face and Daniel's guilty eyes, I realized it didn't matter. The helicopter, the empire, the wealth, it couldn't fix this. I turned away, walking toward the chopper. The crowd parted, their murmurs fading into the night. Elise called after me, her voice desperate, but I didn't look back. The blade spun faster, drowning out her words, drowning out the pain. I climbed aboard, the leather seat cold against my skin, and as the helicopter lifted off, I stared down at the glittering estate, at the life I was leaving behind. They'd laughed at me, mocked the man they thought I was. But as the helicopter soared into the night, I wasn't the one who looked small. The betrayal had gutted me, but it hadn't broken me. Not yet. And as the lights of the estate faded below, I made a silent vow. I'd rebuild, not for them, not for her, but for me. The man I'd become would never be laughed at again.